The day the news spread that I had become one of the youngest distributors in Lagos, my phone refused to rest. Calls poured in from distant relatives I had not heard from in years, old friends suddenly remembering our childhood, and strangers who claimed they had always believed in me. At first, I felt proud. After all the years of hunger, heat, and humiliation on the streets, it felt good to finally be recognized. But slowly, I began to notice something strange. Many of the smiles around me were not warm, they were calculating. My office was always full now, but not everyone who entered came with good intentions. Some came with business ideas that sounded too good to be true. Others came asking for money, claiming they needed help to start something. At first, I tried to help everyone. After all, I knew what it meant to struggle. But as the weeks passed, I realized a painful truth about success in Lagos. The moment people see money around you, they stop seeing the person you are. They only see the opportunity you represent. Among all the people working with me, there was one person I trusted more than anyone else, Kunle. He had been with me since the early days, when I first opened my small shop near the bus stop. Kunle was loyal, hardworking, and always spoke about how proud he was of our growth. Because of that trust, I gave him responsibility over several supply routes across the city. I believed we were building the future together. Then one evening, something unusual happened. A group of hawkers who normally collected goods from us came complaining that they had been redirected to another supplier with cheaper prices. At first, I thought it was just normal competition. But when I investigated deeper, the truth hit me like a thunderbolt. The new supplier was not a stranger. It was Kunle. He had secretly opened a competing business using the same contacts, strategies, and distribution methods I had taught him. Within 3 months, my business began to feel the pressure. Several hawkers switched sides because Kunle offered them lower prices and special deals. Trucks that once left my warehouse full began leaving half empty. For the first time since my rise, fear returned to my heart. I had worked so hard to escape the streets, and now it felt like everything could collapse because of one betrayal. Many nights I sat alone in my office long after everyone had gone home, staring at the city lights of Lagos through the window. The same city that lifted me up now seemed ready to swallow me again. But one thing the streets had taught me was survival. I reminded myself of the boy who once ran between cars with a tray on his head. If that boy could fight hunger and rejection, then this man could fight competition. Instead of fighting Kunle with anger, I decided to fight with strategy. I began improving the system that had built my success in the first place. I offered training to my hawkers on how to increase their daily sales. I introduced small credit support so they could carry more goods without paying everything up front. Slowly, my suppliers also began trusting me more because they saw I was focused on long-term growth instead of quick profits. Word began spreading again on the streets that working with my company was more reliable. Hawkers who had left started returning one by one. They said that while Kunle offered cheap prices, he didn't support them the way I did. That was when I realized something important about business. Money can attract people quickly, but loyalty keeps them longer. Years later, my company became bigger than I ever imagined, when I was a teenage hawker shouting through traffic. But my greatest pride was not the warehouses, trucks, or bank accounts. It was the program we created to help young street vendors build their own businesses. Every year we trained hundreds of them on saving money, buying goods wholesale, and eventually becoming suppliers themselves. One afternoon, during a training session, a young boy stood up and said something that touched me deeply. He said, "Sir, before today I thought hawking was a dead end, but now I see it can be the beginning of something big." Hearing those words brought me back to the streets where my journey began. And in that moment, I realized the real victory was not becoming a millionaire. It was proving that even the smallest hustle in Lagos can grow into something powerful if you refuse to give up.